Hi, it's Mike from the Gooners podcast here with a special guest who's come over to visit me at my home for the next couple weeks. Not a bad home to have, I would say, for anyone that might recognize this. Lee, have you been back here since 2006?
Obviously, I've walked past it a few times, and it always upsets me a little bit. If I'll be honest, it's a bit emotional coming.
Do you need a tissue?
No, I'm okay.
Because I didn't mean the last thing I wanted to do was upset you.
No,
but
it's something. I don't know. You know what I mean? It brings back memories, and this was a fantastic place. You know, I love this place, and you know, it's special. And seeing as it is now, it does upset me a little bit. I'm not going to lie, but
I've talked to people in the flats inside, and we'll take a peek in there. But I've talked to people. They don't understand what Arsenal is.
No.
It's just a flat to them, and that's what gets you really upset. So I'm going to get the tears jerking. We're going to go in and check out the marble halls because they're waiting for us, and we'll see you in a minute. I think we can go in and pick up our tickets.
Yeah, let's go
the ticket booth.
Let's go back tonight.
See if anyone else is around. Oh, hello, Herbert. How you doing, Mr. Chapman? How does Mr. Chapman rate on your all-time managers? I mean, behind Arsene Wenger, of course.
Definitely behind Arsene Wenger, like number two.
Number two.
But he won titles.
And ahead of Unai Emery?
Just about ahead of you.
And as far as player managers are concerned, where does Herbert Chapman fit, compared to Lichtsteiner, for instance?
He's out there.
Okay. So
this is unbelievable. They just put a ticket office there.
Yeah. They've kept the original kind of on this side of the stadium. They've kept everything very authentic, but then they've modernized it to be a concierge.
And that's where the dressing room used to be down there in the tunnel.
I think there's a good chance that.
Hi, mate. Hey, you're right.
Somebody's ready to go in. Ready for action. We'll walk down the Highbury Players Tunnel here onto the pitch. Just like the heroes of the past. And this is it, man. This is, as we've just learned from a resident and friend of yours, this is where the coach's dugout was situated. The beginning of the pitch right here. The original East Stand, still preserved for years to come. We'll get a better picture of it, but how does this make you feel walking onto the hallowed grounds?
Yeah.
When was your first time in here?
I can't. Do you know what? I was trying to think that when I was coming up here. I can't remember. My dad just took me. I remember it was in the West End that my dad took me. First game. Can't remember who it was against, but walked up to the stairs, and then I see the pitch, and that was it. Like, the red and white shirts.
One of those classic moments where you've been dreaming about it, and you finally get here and you see it, and it's better than you even thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I remember it being
kind of like when you met me.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I remember, Liam Brady was playing, and that was my first sort of. My dad said to me, look, just watch the number. I think he was playing number 8. I know he was famous for number 7, but he played different numbers then. And he just said, look at this player, he's the player. And watching Liam Brady, Frank Stapleton, Alan Sunderland, those sort of guys, they were the ones that made me fall in love with Arsenal, if I'll be honest. And then Charlie Nicholas come along. The clock in there, I was all, like, my dad used to be in the clock end, and I always used to say, because I didn't have a roof there, Dad, when are we going to go to the North Bank?
So it definitely was a family affair then, the Arsenal.
He said, when you're old enough, son, when you're old enough, you go to the North Bank.
This club has been here, played here for 93 seasons. Not every one of them, because I guess in World War II it was used as a air raid. It was actually bombed in World War II. I mean, you remember that? But it's incredible the history that's in here. My introduction to it was on the North Bank. I was 15.
That's the North Bank.
North Bank right here, North Bank Highbury. Whenever the song starts, it's not easy for me. It's not hard for me to pick my side because I have I spent a lot of my youth right around there, just to the, if you're facing the goal from the North Bank, just to the left side of the goal, maybe 10 rows up on the terrace, and watched guys like Merson and Alan Smith and even Kev Campbell.
Kevin Campbell. You know, Ian Wright.
Didn't get to see Ian Wright play here actually, because by the time he arrived, I was gone, and I missed out on that. But yeah, there's the North Bank.
There's a buzz when you come here, you know.
I'm gonna head on.
Bergkamp graced this place, and of course Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira.
And that's my greatest regret, is to not have been able to see those guys play.
Robert Perez. You can name them all, like, you know, Ray Parler. You know.
So right out onto the pitch, it's kind of amazing what they've done with this. This is the
swimming pool.
The roof of overlooking a swimming pool, which I'm sure doesn't show up on video. Actually, I can see it through there, but it's pretty foggy because everyone just kind of works themselves up there looking at the pitch.
Look at the hello turf, Mike. Look at it, eh? Hey,
Is it about the same condition? No.
What's going on?
Someone's been messing about. And then I think we look down at, what, a car park down here?
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Car park, which was always there, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Just never able to be viewed through glass from the pitch before. So you went from the West Stand to the North Bank then?
Yeah.
When you came of age?
There were some times when you used to go in the North Bank and jump in and sit in the seats and things like that. You could do that when the stewards weren't looking. I'm sure we've all done that.
Now, when going to reenact Kev Campbell's first goal for Arsenal right now for you here. So, I believe he came on as a substitute against Nottingham Forest. Des Walker's going over here. Des Walker falls on the Giants score. Oh, Dave. Turn off. Sorry about that. After that professional display of
You took the goal really well, Mike.
marksmanship, and you know, I don't know if you could hear me, but I went over to hug the steward who was pitch side, because it needs to be authentic. So Kev, give me a rating from 0 to -200, please, on that. When and if you watch this. So, were you here on the day of Hillsborough?
Yes,
Okay.
Newcastle. No,
Because I was too.
Noel Quinn scored the goal.
1-0. Crazy to think that all those years ago we were, you know,
I was in the North Bank that day.
feet away from each other without even knowing it.
Unbelievable.
We both had, you know, far more hair. I remember that game. I mean, do you remember, or I don't sometimes know whether I'm making this up in my own mind because this is how I want to remember it, but I remember looking over towards the clock end there was a scoreboard that had the Liverpool Forest game on it, and it just stuck at 7-8 minutes and just stopped moving as we made it, and it kicked off the same time.
Yeah.
I might be making that up, but I think that was kind of the first thing that signaled people that something was wrong.
All I remember was people saying there was something happened at Hillsborough, something happened, and you didn't realise what had happened and you know, the consequences of it and everything, and how horrific it was until you actually got home. And to be honest,
did you have family waiting for you at home that I mean, they probably knew the difference. My American mother, as a 15 or 16-year-old, had just heard that there was a disaster at a football stadium, and she was freaking out until I showed up in the door. But I would say your family probably.
No, my family.
And you're probably here too.
Yeah. they would have known.
They weren't
the thing was,
stupid.
there's no mobile phones in those days.
No internet either,
No
I mean-
internet or nothing. You just
Can't
it was
carry
just what
around
you was getting.
CFAX on the North Bank.
You always had, like, in the North Bank and you know, probably at every ground, there was always someone that had a little radio, and you know, there was just someone saying what was happening at Hillsborough, and said, oh, you know, it's, you know, there was a crush. You know, there was talk of like crowd trouble, and
Well, at that
you
point,
know,
it was
and
being
it's just-
it was being reported
Yeah.
as, or assumed to be.
you know, and it was unbelievable. You didn't really know what was going on until you come out of the ground. You were just pleased that we'd won, because we struggled against Newcastle that day to get the 3 points, and but then you realise what had gone on, and you know, that was a horrendous time for football. Horrendous time.
Now, I skipped out of town before the all-seater mandate took effect. I think it had just been put into law, or whatever we want to say, you know, when I was leaving. So I understand that the North Bank was kind of closed for a couple of years. while
The
they-
mural up there,
Yeah.
when they'd done the thing, which was an eerie sort of a thing.
So you go from standing on the terraces, which is an unreal experience. I hope they bring it back in some capacity. But did you return to the North Bank and
Yeah,
sit?
Well, yeah, but what happened was then, because obviously I was playing football then as well, you know. So what you'd do is, if you didn't have a game, you could just come to the game, just turn up, pay your money, and go. That all changed.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. Yeah, we used
you
to just
know, you had to get
put a couple quid into the turnstile, buy a program,
and so that all changed. So it was about getting tickets. So it was just about then getting tickets wherever you could. You know, I remember.
so you didn't have a season
like,
ticket.
So
and
you'd get into the North Bank with your mates if one of them had a spare ticket or something like that, or you know, I'd end up in the Clock End, East End, and you know. Funny enough, my first game, as I said, was in the West End. I very rarely ever went in the West End. I think I put 3 or 4 times. Do you remember when Nigel Winterburn scored that goal against Wimbledon, the 2-2? We managed to get tickets. And we was right up in the top there when he smashed it in from over here on the right.
with his off foot too.
Yeah, so from his right foot. So, and that was a game where we blew it.
Yeah.
It was coming down, you know, very hard. You know,
Wednesday night.
Cursing Jules Graham and the boys for that. You know, that was it. We'd blown it. I think that we played on the Tuesday, and I think that, if I'm right, you know, correct me if I'm not
The
right.
5-1 Liverpool. or
Yeah,
something,
they played
wasn't
the
it?
next day or something.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, oh Christ.
It was Derby on the weekend, and then
lost to Derby.
Wimbledon midweek.
And you know, probably my biggest regret, you know, my mate Stevie, he went up there to Anfield. It was a Friday, you know, I didn't have the money really, and so I said, no, I'll go watch it on telly, and thinking that we weren't going to win it, of course, like an idiot. So I didn't go.
Yeah.
But I had a load of people around my house that day, and you know, obviously partied, and we all come down here afterwards. You know, jumped.
That's my big regret, is that I was in a pub in central London with my mates watching the game and just celebrating there, but it just never occurred to me at that age, being so new to the club, that you should go. Well, and I may not have been allowed at that age actually to just go up to Highbury and celebrate with the team. But the last question: were you here for the final game?
Final game.
The Wigan game.
Final Wigan game. Yeah.
Thierry Henry hat trick to close the place.
Memorable day. Sad day.
I'm trying to make you cry, dude.
No,
I'm trying.
Just you know, it was an emotional day, and do you know what? I look back on that, and I've never. It was more with, I'm looking forward to going into the Emirates. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I was looking forward to the Emirates.
Seemed a great opportunity.
Yeah, and so I never really like how I feel now looking at it now. I never felt like that on that day, and I never really thought I was going to miss Highbury. I thought, you know, it was the way to go, but. If I'd have known what I know now, I wouldn't have done it. But I was really looking forward to that summer about going to the Emirates. I was still playing then, so I wasn't, you know, going to be going regular. You know, it was like the first game when I went to the Emirates was it was like a bowl. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't really done. It wasn't like to what it is now.
Well, you don't know what you got till it's gone sometimes.
No, and that was the thing,
case,
like, you know, because you know when I was playing, you sort of jump in and out of games, you know, if we, you know, like they were playing Sunday games or midweek games, and I weren't playing midweek or whatever, I'd make sure that I'd come. But Yeah, then obviously, like, once I finished playing, I thought, you know, I'm going to be honest, once I finished playing, I thought, fantastic, because I'll get a season ticket, better opportunities at the Emirates, more of a chance of going. So I was more excited about going to the Emirates than leaving here, if you understand that.
Yeah,
like, you know,
then you were upset about leaving
yeah,
here. Yeah,
for a personal game, because it was so hard to get a season ticket and get to here regular. So for me, it was a better thing. But, you know, I'm now sad about it, and coming here today is, you know, great memories. I was just saying earlier on, you know, when you was younger, Mike, you could, the last game of the season, they allowed you to walk on the pitch, and you'd walk on the pitch pretending you was going to play for the Arsenal. Great days.
Wow.
And Arsenal's changed now, mate. It's changed.
but there's still this tie to the old days, and that's why I like to come here. And you know, whether I'm staying here or not, I like to take a stroll in here so that we don't forget.
No, and I think one of the things that I feel that I'm closer to the 80s and 90s teams because of Highbury, you know what I mean? Because that was the memory of Highbury, so that's why the likes of all those guys that played at that era, you feel a special bond more than the guys now, you know. And that's nothing against the players now, it's just I think it is to do with this place as well, you know, and those great memories, you know, and the kits, and you know, listen, we had some dark days here as well. Don't worry about that. Walsall.
Those were all before I got here.
Yeah, we lost to Walsall in the league cup.
Those were before I got here and after I left, so we don't need to talk about the.
18,000, if that, here. You know what I mean? A freezing cold night. You know,
Much like tonight, and I've got a freezing cold arm that's about to fall off because it's been.
Should we go and have a cup of tea in the flat? It's coffee in the flat.
Yeah, we'll go to the flat now, I
Yeah,
think, and say goodbye to the pitch for now. And when you go into the North Bank, kind of lobby area's been designed. It's got to be very fancy. It's got to match the selling price of some of these places, which is absurd. Unfortunately, it is really all under construction at the moment, so we're standing probably in the area that used to be the very, very back of the North Bank terraces. And we're not going to be taking video inside the place because my underwear's all over the place. So I'm just kidding. Signing off for now. The Gooners podcast with Sam Old Arsenal and Lee Judges.